I watched the Townsend and Sons guy talk about salt pork for like 50 minutes.
Making it or preparing it or
talked about making it, talked about the history of it, how it was used as like a currency back in the day, why salt pork was more expensive than salt beef at the time, and why if you were like a soldier, people like preferred salt pork to salt beef, because I guess that's the nature of pork. Like it doesn't get quite as dried out through all the salting process, whereas beef is like, I guess salted beef that like it was even tough. It was like thicker, but even tougher than jerky. Like you'd have to like soak it. And so if you were like a Revolutionary War soldier and you were like, oh, we just marched for fucking 40 miles. I just want to eat something real quick and go to bed. If you had salt pork, you could just whip it up real quick and eat it. But if you had salt beef, it was like, all right, you need to sit here and soak this for an hour until it won't literally break our teeth. And so it was neat the way he was like, there were different grades of it. And so like you'd go and you'd buy a barrel of salt pork, which is just like pieces of pork in a giant barrel packed with salt. And so like you could get really good cuts. And then poor people could get really crappy barrels that were like a bunch of heads and nothing but heads in there. And that like different areas had different reputations for how good their salt pork was, to the point like that New York passed a law that was like, we do a lot of repacking of salt pork here. If it's repacked here, you can't claim it's New York salt pork because those fuckers in Massachusetts might send us lower quality salt pork, and we need to keep our reputation for New York salt pork being, you know, the creme de la creme, the pinnacle. And so I learned a lot about that.
Do you cook the pork at all? Do you just take raw pork and put salt on it?
You put raw pork and then you cover it in salt and you seal it in a barrel. And then that preserves it enough that like after you're done with it, you still have to cook it and whatnot to eat it. But then also Townsend was saying that there were, because he goes in on deep dives where he's like, and you know, they didn't have the recipes exactly, but we can read in this journal from Corporal John Stevenson from 1731, where he says after a long march, they were too tired to cook. And so many of the men chose to just eat their salt pork raw. And apparently that worked just fine also, but it wasn't the tastiest thing. And so it was really,
think it would kill
really
all the bacteria.
Yeah.
And the parasites too.
It like lasted for like, it could last for months in there. And so usually people were like putting all the pork in there in like the end of fall, so that like midwinter you still had pork that you could pull out and eat.
YouTube's algorithm is amazing. I love like YouTube rabbit holes that you get into. I've been going down sailing for a couple months now. And sailing has all kinds of videos. There is like thirst traps on their stand-up paddle boards looking at coral reefs. That's not my cup of tea. I like the suffering. I watched this couple. They were like older than me, maybe like 60, 65. And obviously seasoned sailors who know exactly what they're doing. They've been around the world. But this guy got COVID. So he was a little sick and not the best version of himself. But there's a hurricane coming. And he has what in aviation they call get-there-itis. Sometimes people say like, oh, I need to get to this airport today. And even though the weather's changed or whatever, and it's a good decision is now a bad one, they're just tunnel visioned and they're going to power through it and make bad calls. Well, he had a safe port he could have gone to, but he's sick and he really wanted to get to his ideal destination. So they go for it. Poor fucking guy. COVID, sick as fuck. As he's like coming out of it, his wife gets COVID. They're in a hurricane. The winds are 70 miles an hour. The seas are 30 feet tall. And it's not like a story that you don't believe. This is the video I'm watching, right?
Yeah.
Waves crashing over this boat. The boat's only like 40 feet long. Like it's not a giant sailboat or anything. They're going up and down. And they're like sort of protected. But as the waves splash on this like not waterproof cover, she's getting like splashed. He's like, how you doing? And she's like, well, between the COVID and the seasickness, I'm trying to keep my spirits up. And it's like, yeah, you are. Enjoy your hurricane. And they did make it through. And afterwards, you could tell on these sailboats, I enjoyed the social part of it, like how they break down duties and get along with each other and stuff like that. Imagine living your whole life with someone in basically one room. The social thing becomes interesting. And clearly it was his job to like lead the sailing and the navigation, and she handled a lot of like interior like homemaker tasks, cooking in the galley and stuff. And she's like, why did you choose to sail in the hurricane? And he's like, I was sick and tired and not the best version of me. And it was like, fuck yeah. Well, he owned it. And dude, these sailing videos, people going through some real shit on these, and they film it, and sometimes they paint an overly rosy picture of just how amazing life is. That's not what I like. I like it when their diesel engine stops working and they have to do what they call boat yoga, which is like hanging upside down with the ridge of something cutting into your ribs while you work on a diesel engine in a moving sea. That is interesting to watch. I'm all about it.
Dude, that dovetails into another part of my YouTube interests, which I also watched like a 40-minute video on the history of hardtack.
I've seen that video.
It's a great video.
It's a good video.
Yeah, it's a good ass video. This guy, shout out Townsend and Sons.
How does he make hardtack interesting? And what is hardtack? It's stale bread. Help me.
It's basically like the most simple biscuit you could possibly make.
It lasts 100 years.
Yeah, that's dried and preserved, and they would eat it. It was called a ship's biscuit, and so they'd eat it on these ships for super long periods, because if you brought like tasty bread, it would get maggots and mold and all sorts of nonsense in there, especially with the sea air, I guess.
This is the shit that Frodo ate.
Yeah, it was. Well, no, Frodo ate lembas bread, and it only took a bite to fill a grown man's stomach, and then Pippin is like. And then Mary's like, how many did you eat, Pip? And Pip's like, I ate 4. And he's like, he ate like 5 days of food. But yeah, he like talked about how they made it, how some people would have better recipes than others for this like funny, like it's so hard and stale that you would have to like soak it almost, like leave it in water for a while.
Something,
yeah, a little cinnamon, some kind of fat, probably lard if it's that era. Yeah, and it was. He like makes it come to life because he talks not just about it and like he'll like make it, he'll talk about it, and then he'll also like read you passages while dressed up like he's from 1720, like in his little shack.
This video is only 12 minutes long. Townsend's.
Oh, he's gone back to the hardtack well many times. So I've watched multiple hardtack.
It's episodic.
There's Did you ever watch the survival food? That guy's channel rocks. I love that channel.
You know the Steve whatever, the MRE eating channel? Like he had some hardtack, I think from the Civil War he ate.
I've watched a couple of that guy's videos. I watched the Civil War MRE, I think, where it was packed in. But I think that was one where it was so old that like it had kind of crumbled and fallen apart, so you couldn't really open it the same way as other ones. Like stuff was already rotten.
Yeah, people send him MREs from all around the world, so he really does have some interesting and unique. Like not just from different countries, but there's more than just the basic MRE. They'll have like their 3-day emergency pilot's ration that's in like a fighter jet if they go down. So there's lots of different ration kits from all these different countries, and it's fun to see. M&Ms are just global. It's like if you're gonna have some candy in there, they're gonna like nobody's gonna reinvent the M&M, so they just buy M&Ms. Peanut butter, shit like that. I'll start watching those and I'll tell myself that they're actually tasty, and then I'll order a case of them and eat one and throw the rest away.
M&Ms are amazing. The almond M&Ms.
M&Ms are good, but MREs suck.
I'm sorry. I think I
get the whole kit. I've ordered boxes of MREs multiple times. And been like, what was I thinking?
Why did I do that?
I have access to real pizza, and yet I'm making one in an Army Man kit.
Man, I smoked a lot of weed.
Every so often, someone will bring MREs on like our motorcycle adventure, and you'd think it's good, but it's like, bro, there are better options at REI. This guy's got shitty MREs that I guess their claim to fame is lasting 600 years. And then we're breaking out like, I don't know, blueberry crumb desserts and shit.
Yeah. Why don't you just bring some ravioli, like some Chef Boyardee or something? Like, whatever you want.
Sounds heavy. But
something that always cracks me up with like, because this guy, the recipes he makes are from like cookbooks from like 1710. And so he'll be like, this recipe comes from Mary Baker's The Art of Cookery in 1708. And like, they don't do recipes the way we do now, which is like you add flour and then you add sugar in these exact amounts, and then you add this exact amount of water, and then you put it in the oven at this exact temperature for this exact duration, and this should be your result. Like, he'll read the recipe book, and it'll be like, Mary said to add 2 palms of bay leaves and to cook until well ready. And like,
yeah, like
so it's just like
on an open hearth.
On an open, literally, yes, cook on an open hearth until well ready. Season until blackened.
Use only maple wood, of course, in the springtime.
Until it's blackened,
right
like
back.
that family friend of yours who's not really a friend, but, you know, he works for you in a way.
Have your uncle fetch a cord of firewood for the hearth.
A cord of firewood for that. And I love
that's
that.
what makes me a little uncomfortable every now and then when I'm watching them. And the black fella comes in, the big fat guy.
Oh, yeah, but he's just another flavor of this autism. He loves it. And there's a big fat guy who does it too.
He's dressed like a slave, though.
No, he's dressed like a chef.
Oh, but the chefs were slaves then.
Oh, maybe.
Like that's who would do the cooking. I saw an auction poster for slaves the other day on Reddit, and it was like from a real slave auction, and it's how they were listed and like described. Is really bizarre because it was like middle-aged, sturdy housewoman, good cook, good and like that would be it. And then it would go on to like young, strong woman used to house choring with baby. And it's like, it was just bizarre.
Comes with a baby.
Yeah, it comes with a baby.
I wonder if I saw that as like a good thing or a terrible thing where they're like, now I gotta feed a baby.
I guess I would see it as like, okay, this person's a wet nurse as well. Maybe if you needed that, like I think that would definitely be a thing that would happen, right? If like you didn't want your wife to breastfeed, or maybe you'd lost her, you could have like a slave wet nurse.
Maybe. I guess that does check out.
What other great benefits would slavery bring, Taylor?
Oh, countless. No, you know, I 2 thumbs down to slavery. I look at slavery, and you know what I think?
Don't do that.
I think not for this guy. Nothing.
You know
really
who
is.
I'd like to have? The guy who does the MRE reviews, who eats that ancient food from World War II and smokes them. And he seems like he's real buff too. Like he seems like you could definitely do some fitness talk with this dude. Like whenever he's like smoking a cigarette, you're like, God damn, Popeye. He's just real ripped up. Seems like an odd but interesting like hobby or I guess job. He gets millions of views that he has there.
That's a really cool. It'd be awesome to be that into like such a niche little thing, and then have that thing that you're autistically obsessed with become your job.
Yeah,
because you know that there's never
did that
a day.
with alcohol.
Well, you know, but it's safer, I think, to eat these 90-year-old pieces of meat than, you know, guzzle a liter of Jaeger a day or whatever. But it must be awesome to be like, he's got somebody who has a channel about that has a touch of the tism. And that's fine. Everybody's got a touch. But every day, like, I'm envious that never is he waking up and being like, I got to do that Korean War breakfast today. Every day he's like, oh boy. Head pops off the pillow. Do I do Korean breakfast? Oh no, I don't want to spoil that one. I'm excited. I've got a Civil War soap kit. Wonder what soap tastes like. That would be such a great
gig. He gets those
living
weird,
the dream.
He gets those odd and very obscure MREs and rations from not just through time, but also from around the world. He'll have the Yugoslavian kit from 1987, and then he'll have the modern day Swedish kit, and some of them are like very nice. The French kit has like all sorts of nice stuff in it. I don't know, like fruit spreads and these fancy crackers and couscous, and what's the other thing? The pate.
Yeah.
I like to see him on like, you know, a Tinder date. Like, what? Babe, no, that had peanut butter and saltines. I got you the good shit, woman. Where are you going?
Oh, thank you so much for bringing me to PF Chang's. And he's like, no problem. I'll be paying for both of us, but only one of us is going to order. This is a Civil War ration kit from 1864. Now, you're going to notice a smell when you open it up. What that is rancid meat.
He starts rolling a cigarette.
Well, don't leave. All right, I'll eat your Mongolian beef. Fuck you. The Civil War one was the coolest one I saw because it was just so
hardtack.
old.
Yeah, it was hardtack, and he ate it. I think.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
He ate something from 1860.
Yeah.
Which is
wow.
Over 50 years ago.
The math checks out.
Thousands of years ago.
I was thinking today, so to me, the 1980s is a while ago, but not impossibly long ago. But in the 1980s, that was the 40s. That was World War II to what we are now. Like 2020 is to 1980 as 1980 is to the 1940.
Sure.
And
that's pretty crazy.
It just seems like, wow, like, because now it feels like World War II was, it's 80 years ago. That's so, 75, but it's a whole other lifetime.
Pretty much everybody's dead at this point.
Everyone's
Most of them.
dead. Like the position of the countries in like the global hierarchy from 75 years ago is hardly relevant today.
Yeah. And even the people that are alive from then, it's like, well, I was 2 when Hitler killed himself. And it's like, well, then were you really there? Really?
Right. Yeah.
I don't think so.
You want to talk about some shit you didn't know you cared about?
What?
I've gotten sucked back into the MRE review channel that I mentioned about 2 years ago. This guy literally eats, military MREs, like meals ready to eat, from around the world and from every era. And he's a little cringy. He's like, every time he cracks something open and it hisses, he goes, "Ooh, nice hiss." And he's like, all right, let's get that on a plate. And then editing magic, and it's all on a plate. And he goes, nice.
It is pure distilled autism.
It's great. Now he looks like I like him, and I think he does an excellent job. He's real ripped. Like whatever, like sometimes the camera angle cuts back to him so you can actually see him eat, and his biceps, and he's not like a big, like thick guy.
Yeah, he
looks like a 175-pound guy who's just like Paulie from Sopranos. Like he's just fucking cranking those curls out continuously forever because his biceps are legit as fuck. But I'm really into it. Sometimes he'll eat shit that's crazy old. Like he'll eat like Civil War era hardtack.
I thought World War II was crazy old.
No.
Civil War is amazing.
He'll eat like 120-year-old hardtack biscuits. It's
a biscuit. I never heard of
it's just
hardtack.
like maggoty, hard bread. And like you can tell, it's not even like the container is like, if he's like, I'm doing a Civil War or a World War II or like Vietnam War or whatever, at least it's like in a metal tin or something. Like it looks a little bit like that. It could keep something out. He's like, now this one's from 1861, where they kind of just put a sandwich with an apple on top and poured wax over it. It's like there's no level of preserving it at all. Like immediately he'll be like, I got this one. Yeah, you can see all the holes at the bottom from the maggots. Oh, that's right here. That's not dust. These are dead bugs.
Oh, I was going to ask if that was like I thought maggoty was hyperbole at first.
No, not at all.
I've never seen maggots. That sounds like hyperbole to me.
Hyperbole.
Yes, hyperbole. That's how it's pronounced. But I really like it. Like especially when he goes to like other countries, like the Belarusian battle pack or whatever, and they'll have like turkey pate and stuff, like, or the French, they have these cordials, which is like some like brandy wine or something like that. They come with a little packet of booze and like most of the meals. I really enjoy it. And when he finds something rare, like he found like a Royal Air Force like ocean survival pack that like unwraps and it's got all this fishing gear in it and like sunburn cream, and like it's really interesting to me. And he is brave as fuck about what he'll eat. Like if he cracks it open and it looks at all edible, as long as it doesn't smell bad, he'll be like, well, it does smell a little metallic and it's got a very chemical taste to it, but it is hardy. It is hardy. I'll say that about it. He'll eat that shit.
I've watched a few of those recently.
So it stores tiny.
Oh my God.
But
Quick little assembly process.
Yeah, we'll screw each end together. And I have
ends together. Oh my!
That Can you tell how long this is?
It
This
looks
is a sizable spoon.
it looks 2 feet long.
This is a very
But
long.
there's no.
and you can go into the MRE pouch and not get it all over your fingers and knuckles.
Are
And
there
then,
like tangs on that? It looks just like a
is not-
spoon.
it is
It
a
is a
spoon. It's
Oh.
a spoon. But that's what you need for your pad thai rehydrated bullshit meal you're eating that only tastes good because you're at a campfire. But this is a long thing, and you can keep your knuckles and fingers clean while you dig it out of the pouch.
Never
So-
tried an MRE. I imagine they're very salty.
So he called it an MRE, but I'm actually talking about like a dehydrated.
Oh, okay.
Basically, you add water to pad thai, and it turns into something resembling pad thai, resembling whatever, some sort of rice and meat.
Yeah. I ate an MRE the other day for dinner. I had waited too long, and I didn't have any groceries, and I'd waited too long to order food. And,
But you're near Atlanta. Like, don't you have like nearly 24-hour services?
I don't want to drive. I don't
doesn't
want to
wanna
leave.
leave.
I'm high as fuck.
But there isn't 24-hour delivery like Postmates?
No,
closes?
not 24 hours. They close eventually.
Yeah, they close when the
like,
stores do.
Yeah, so I had my cheese tortellini MRE, and I broke that bad boy out, and it was awful. It was awful.
Cheese tortellini. How could you ruin cheese tortellini?
The cheese tortellini was actually the best part. The rest of it was like, it was like a bag of peanuts, freeze dry, and not freeze dry, vacuum sealed peanuts. And I was like, ooh, let's see what the other snack is. And it was trail mix, but the trail mix was nothing but peanuts. So I just
That's not true. Look, now we're in my wheelhouse. That's not true. Trail mix.
there was peanuts, like 3 cashews, and
No M&Ms?
these little pretzel balls. Like they were like a pretzel, but they were like the size of a Skittle or something. And that was it.
Disappointed U.S. Army.
There
Yeah,
was
that's disgusting.
there was the MRE crackers, and there was the peanut butter and chocolate spread, which meant that there were 3 items with peanuts in there. Like it was just it was a
Kitty would
peanut
hate
bag.
that meal.
It was a peanut bag. It is all it was. And
Is that the only one you had? The only
I only had
MRE?
one. Well, I got a whole bunch of MREs like at a location, but
Yeah.
like I got my MREs here.
In your
And I just had the one.
in your bug out shack in the middle of the woods.
Wherever my MREs are, it doesn't matter. They
Here
are
or
where they
there.
are.
But especially not there.
Bit of a prepper.
I wouldn't talk about that sort of thing ever.
That's how you can tell. You can tell the real preppers from the fake ones because the real ones never talk about prepping, and the fake ones always talk about prepping.
Well, it's just some people see it as a hobby, and some people see it as a contingency.
Yeah, but the ones who are like taking it seriously were like, "There's gonna be an EMP." Like they're like, "Son, did you mention all of this at school? We're pulling you out. We're going." Like the serious ones aren't going on that show, I would say.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. Especially the ones who have like stuff to lose. Like it's one thing if you're like already you're just an average guy and you're just looking for enough like rice and beans to keep you alive in some weird scenario. But like if you're already like a millionaire who's like enjoying his like lifestyle, or 100 millionaire or whatever, like those guys' plans are always extreme.
Yeah, and those ones are the coolest because they set up prepping in a way where it's like, I'm not prepping to survive. I'm prepping to not lose a step in my quality of life. Like I need my live-in servants and all this shit. I bet Bezos and Musk, all those guys have contingency plans at the bottom of the maybe underneath the Denver airport, if Woody's assumption is correct. We don't know.
If I had like Musk money, I might not want to live in the next thing. Like that, you can only go down from here. It would suck. I don't know. Like when I see people who kill themselves because of a zombie outbreak, I'm like, they might have the right idea.
Yeah, it's pretty
not
selfish.
a lot of joy coming your way.
Because, well, I guess it depends on the kind of zombies. If it's the kind of zombie that's like airborne and when you die, you come back as a zombie, very selfish to kill yourself without like a guillotine. But if it's like you have to be bit, I could see that. Definitely.
You
Just
shoot
checking
yourself
out.
at the temple, and most of the lore, I see that.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured the people killing themselves would be the ones without guns in this scenario. Just killing yourself before someone gets to you. It steals your fucking, rice cakes.
Not your rice cakes.
Not my flavorless styrofoam bullshit.
You can have them.
Rice cakes are bullshit.
They're
even
awful.
bullshit as a diet. I was raised with the idea that rice cakes were like 0 calories.
You think
And then-
10, right?
You'd think 10. It's not. A low calorie rice cake is like 60.
You could have a bagel almost. Like get it the fuck over with and have a real food.
They're fucking horrible. And you put peanut butter on a rice cake or something, and you think you're having a low-cal treat. No. This is a calorie-dense bullshit, make you fat meal. It turns out we all know that rice makes you fat. But we thought rice cakes were like somehow like not part of that like rule set.
Rice or something. Like they poofed out all the bad part and just left us with
all the calories and just leave the air.
Rice cakes are not the ticket, boys.
The lowest the calorie rice cake I ever had was years ago when I was trying to lose weight, and there were 35 calories, low salt. And like,
were they super thin?
They were maybe that thin. So not they were pretty sizable.
Yeah.
But immediately when you bite in, like it's like almost like a loaf of sourdough. There were hollow areas in the cake, like which I didn't think was possible in a rice cake. Yeah, it sucks all the moisture out of your mouth. It takes you forever to eat it, and you're hating it the whole time.
I bought low-calorie rice cakes. I bought them on Amazon, so I didn't like see them. You know how you can maybe not get that perspective.
Yeah,
like low-calorie rice cakes. For 30 calories, like it's better than nothing. Maybe it'll hold you over and help you get to your next meal, dude. A 30-calorie rice cake was like half a centimeter thick. It was like 2 rice tall. But like this is bullshit. You didn't have any special tricks. You just gave me smaller servings.
A rice cake is a great way to miss food. Like it's a great way to remind yourself, I remember eating. Yeah, it was way better than this.
Like right now, I've got a filet mignon and a baked potato out there, like getting ready to go. The baked potato's been in the oven.
Damn.
Got the fillets about to go on the grill. I got the grill like 700 fucking degrees out there. I'm very excited. Have not eaten today.
Delicious.
So is this breakfast for you?
Yeah,
breakfast.
No, it's breakfast. Well, I skipped breakfast technically because I woke up at 5 p.m. So it's 6 hours later. So this is like noon for me. So like this is like 11 p.m. for me. So it's like it's almost time for lunch. So I skipped breakfast. I'm gonna fix lunch here in a minute. For dinner, I think I'm just gonna go back to the venison. Gonna have some venison patties, some rice, some teriyaki sauce on there. It's gonna be great.
I'm hungry. I think I'm going fruit mix though. Fruit mix and then just sleep.
My favorite Michael Scott thing. When they're doing the Michael Scott paper company, and he's picking them up at like 4 a.m. crack of dawn or whatever. And she goes, "Do you have coffee?" And he hands her this thermos. He goes, "Cream and sugar." And she takes it. She goes, "Oh, thank God." She takes a sip and she goes, "Oh, is this just cream and sugar?" and he goes, "That's what I said. You drink this every morning."
Every morning. He just drinks a container.
Have you ever had cream and sugar like that?
No, I bet it's tremendous.
It's amazingly good. So I actually don't put cream and sugar. I put like some sort of almond cream substitute and stevia. But my wife would have cream and sugar in her coffee. And one day she made the cream and sugar first before she added the coffee. Like you would add the coffee to it later. And I tried it, and it is very good. It turns out if you have fat and sugar together, that's outstanding.
It's literally ice cream. You just needed a little bit of vanilla in there. And
you just need some cold and some mixing.
Freeze it. Yeah.
That's why, like, I remember when, like the Tarkov foods, like the condensed milk. Whenever he cracks that open and like eats that in the field, I'm thinking like, oh my God, to drink down a whole 16-ounce can of condensed sweetened milk in the field. You would feel
so terrible like 40 minutes later.
It's interesting because like the way it affects your character, your hydration, like it's plummeted, like it dries you out, but your energy's off the charts. You're just like, fuck yeah, because you just ate a whole can of like melted ice cream.
I don't know what condensed milk is like in real life. I only know how to use it.
It's just like what Kyle said. Like it's basically
so like I've used it in
like that astronaut ice cream kind of.
No. It's more like
it's wet.
It's a syrup. It's like a honey consistency, but it's sweetened milk. So it's like thick melted ice cream. Syrup.
What do you do with it normally?
It goes into recipes and like baking recipes and stuff like that as like a sweetening, flavoring, consistency changing element.
Sometimes in Tarkov, I'll have things like if people don't play the game, most foods dehydrate you a little bit. So like you eat your food, then you drink your water later and your character's all set. Peas give you a little energy and they hydrate you a touch. Milk does the same thing. So if you combine peas and milk, it does good things for your character. But in real life, that's awful. And I'm like, I don't know if I can stomach peas and milk in another raid. This is getting to be terrible.
Yeah, that would be really awful. I think eating that beef stew in the field would be pretty nasty. I think anything but the MRE. MREs are pretty good.
In real life?
I've never had an MRE.
Yeah, you really?
No, I've never tried an MRE.
I think I have.
They're kind of fun. Like first of all, you can order them off of Amazon, and they come with the heating element that you add the water, and it gets all bubbly. And you always want them to be more complicated than what they end up being. Like when I watch the MRE guy, who we should have on as a guest, I think I'd love to have the MRE guy on as a guest. That guy's into fitness too. I don't know if you ever noticed, like he's fucking.
Yeah, he's a fit fella. I've only watched like 2 videos where I saw him, but yeah, he is.
Yeah, I always want one like he's got, like some Slovenian like Air Force 3-day ration. But I end up getting some nonsense off of Amazon, and I end up having like peanut butter crackers with peanuts. That's literally what they gave me. Like it's like, oh, peanut butter and crackers. Oh, and what else? What else? Peanuts. Okay, and what else? Trail mix. That's all peanuts. They gave me like 3 peanut things and some ravioli, and I was very upset. I wanted to feel like an army man.
Like an army man.
I feel like it's all right, this is what America's Department of Defense has put together in terms of food. And you're like, oh, a clever way to heat up this, or this is what a brownie looks like when you need that brownie to last for 75 years.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. And also like how the other countries do things, because everybody seems to have like the same idea about forks and spoons, but not everybody has the same idea on the value of coffee. Some cultures clearly, or countries maybe I should say, man, it's the most important. You need like 8 different kinds of coffee and 3 kinds of creamers and 4 sweeteners in there. We got that. Don't worry. Like there's not a lot of food left, but it's all right. It's all coffee. It's all yes, it comes with a Keurig. Yes, like there's so much coffee in some of these countries, like rations, and then like some of them will have like just cans of fish that look so disgusting, and like lots of pate, which isn't really a thing here. I don't think. I think of like potted meat product.
How's the American like macro situation? Like, is it all carbs, or do they like get you some?
It's
proteins?
mostly carbs. It's mostly carbs and fats, because there's so much peanuts and so much like, but there's tons of like crackers, peanut butter, and then the main that I got was like cheese tortellini or something like that. So it was just like a giant carb bomb. I didn't eat most of it. It was just, I was like, how many peanuts am I going to sit here and eat before I'm satisfied that I've got the whole thing down? I think I know what they're all going to taste like.
Yeah, that's how I was with the grasshoppers. I had a couple, and I get the full grasshopper experience. I finished the tortilla.
Yeah, I'm interested. I would have done that too, just to get the experience. But I hope that you were like, yeah, give me 1 grasshopper taco and 3 chicken tacos.
It was a plate full of grasshoppers. You make it yourself. A little bit loyal to Pepsi, which was their goal.
It's made in Jersey, right?
Pepsi
where?
It's made.
I'm asking you. I don't know.
The tour was. I don't know if their like headquarters are or anything.
I used to know, because I watch all that shit on YouTube, like the behind the brands and like the food that made America and all that stuff. So I watched one on Spam the other day. I was fascinated. I loved it. The whole thing about the Hawaiians eating the Spam.
Does it stand for salt preserves all meat?
They don't know what it stands for.
Okay.
They broke down a couple.
I thought it was like
apostles.
a joke about ham.
It's they had 2 or 3 ideas for what it might stand for, if I remember it correctly, in the documentary that I watched. But I think it was big for World War II. Obviously, they sent millions of cans over, and they were afraid that because those guys have been eating it every day, like fuck, they'll never buy a can of Spam again. But it was the opposite. They got home and they're like, you know what I want, honey? You know what would make me feel comfortable? Why don't you cook us all up a can of Spam? And then
a nice can of Spam.
I've never had Spam.
It has a very distinctive flavor. If you ever want to taste it just for the hell of tasting it, make sure you get the low sodium version, because 1 can of Spam has like a week's sodium supply in it. Even the low sodium, that 1 can far exceeds your daily sodium.
Oh,
intake.
yeah.
It's crazy amounts.
It's like it's preserved meat paste.
It's salted ham.
It's like an emulsified and reformed salted ham paste in a can that will last until your grandchildren are long gone.
I have a can because I bought it after I watched that documentary, and then I realized I didn't get the low sodium version, and then someone talked about how much sodium was in it, and I was like, I can't even taste that. If I take a bite of that, it's going to give me high blood pressure. Like,
do you guys ever watch documentaries or videos about how the food you're eating at the time is made? Like,
it's a terrible idea.
No, I do this. Like, I'll eat a steak and I'll like watch a YouTube video of like how a cow is butchered. Like the guy is in there, he's like showing all the cuts. Or I was eating Cheez-Its, of course, or maybe it was Goldfish, and then I found a how it's made of that. It was like Cheese Nips, some off-brand thing, and I'm just like, damn, this is kind of neat. I was on I'm eating saltines. I'm on the Wikipedia page for saltines, watching how it's made soda crackers. I don't know. I guess this is less common than I thought it was.
No, my viewing like what I'm watching will often influence what I end up eating. I watched Family Guy the other day, and it's the one where they sing. Have you ever put butter on a Pop-Tart? It's so friggin' good. You remember this?
Yeah, I know that one.
And I was like, no, I've never put butter on a Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
Dude, I put butter on a Pop-Tart, and it is so friggin' good. It's outrageously good. You put it on the back of the Pop-Tart, the non-frosted side.
Mm-hmm.
It's tremendous.
Well, I'm sure butter can't. There are very few things that butter makes worse. Butter's a S tier food stuff.
Face
100%.
wash.
Face wash? Is that?
It makes face wash worse.
I think he's got you there, Taylor.
I saw like a CC
Makes
camera
moisturizer
video.
better, Kyle. You can put it on your hand.
All right, you win this round.
I saw a CC camera video the other day from like a movie theater or something, and this Asian lady goes over to the butter dispenser, the popcorn thing, goes squeak, squeak, rubs it in her hands, and then rubs it all over her face.
I want to make sure nobody sit next to me at movie.
And then walks away.
She needed more pimples.
Like maybe
I'm going to have my own whole section for Endgame.
All I could think was maybe she thought it was hand sanitizer and she really wanted to get clean. She likes that feeling Woody likes when you rub alcohol on your skin.
How soon after you rub movie theater butter on your face are you like, I have to go home. Like I need to rinse this off. Go in the bathroom and just hit that thing and then try and splash water from the 6 tiny streams that come down into the bottom of the sink before it unsets itself. That is one of the worst things about modern society is that people can't be trusted to just have a normal turn for your faucet. How far have we sunk that at gas stations and places, you have to wash your hands with a push because there are people out there who can't be bothered to turn off the faucet. And we all have to live in this world. It's the cart return conundrum.
You know what? I would rather have the push that you described.
You return your carts?
Sensor.
Always.
I have a go bag in my car that I have with me at all times in case there's a dirty bomb that hits or something.
Damn, you're prepared for the biochemical attacks.
NBC CBR rated for nuclear fallout and stuff.
Get your iodine capsules.
Iodine capsules. I got I've got 6 55-gallon drums of water. No, I got it. I got my ex used to work for a pharmaceutical firm.
And
got some other stuff.
Dead. If there's an apocalypse, I want to die. I want to die early.
Really?
No, there's not a lot of happiness that happens afterwards.
I want to make
I'm looking forward to it.
When the world collapses, I don't know. I don't think I'll do well. Everyone imagines they'll do well, but some gang of guys like Wolf has been preparing, and we're gonna be rolling down the street as you're like counting the number of cans of ravioli you have.
I feel like I just need to find that group, and they'll be like, "Are you FVS Russia?" like
kill him and go to his house. I know he has guns.
You have a lot of guns.
I'm very popular amongst right-wing militia groups. All right,
yes,
I think I'll do a-okay.
That could save you in the end. Yeah.
I'd be like, "Can I hang with you guys? Hang with us. Can we make him like Colonel Kyle or something? It has a ring to it. Like, I think I'll be okay."
Dude, I got it all. I've been doing that. I've got generated. I've been doing that stuff since the 90s blackout that hit East Coast.
Wow, you're ready.
So before, like,
what kind of like you have MREs? You may have just said a minute ago, but I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I've got a few. A lot of MREs I don't trust because they don't last long term. I just keep rotating certain food sources.
Yeah, I got obsessed with this YouTube channel that like reviews MREs.
Yeah,
and he makes them seem like delicious. He's like, oh, we've got a 1986 Czech Republic fucking like MRE. This is the MRE that they gave to the pilots. And they'll crack it open, and it's like all sorts of disgusting shit, you know. And he's just like, that's got a nice smoky flavor. And I'm sitting there like, does it now? I'm hungry watching this. It's like sitting and watching someone like a Food Network or something. And next thing I know, I'm on not even Amazon. I'm on eBay buying like European MREs from like the early 90s.
Oh,
and
wow.
None of them are good. No. They're all awful.
Yeah.
Just disgusting. I did end up with I still got a case of American like current issue MREs.
Yeah,
but,
the overpriced stuff.
Yeah. I think they're like $12 a pop or something like that.
Yeah.
They're not cheap, but they're actually not too bad. I think maybe like there's some sort of like cheesy chili macaroni or something like that.
Yeah, you can get like vegan stuff now and everything, man.
Yeah, they get like vegetarian pasta, and some of those are like anything that's like noodles and like tomato sauce. Yeah, they have that figured
the
out.
Basics, yeah.
But if you try to do like an MRE hamburger or an MRE hot dog or anything, that's no good.
The thing is, though, you gotta think of it if you're at a point that you're starving so badly, you're not gonna care.
No,
about the thing, right? Like,
no, you wouldn't care.
And from what I've learned from experience, you don't want to get stuff that tastes good in your storage because people are just going to start eating it when you don't need to. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it works for a diet, you know.
You just want to store some dry oatmeal.
Yeah, because it's like the pantry's running low. The kids are just going to go downstairs and get the food that they like in the emergency supply.
In the early days of the coronavirus, you know, like somebody was making the point about like what happens if like the gasoline gets shut down. Like, what if the guys who like run the oil fucking systems like are all too sick to work or whatever? And I did go get like, I don't know, less than 10 pounds, but more than 5 pounds of rice and dried beans.
Yep. But people don't understand how weak or how independent the system is. Like grocery stores only carry enough food for 72 hours. So if, say for instance, the trucking industry stopped, they'd run out of food in like 2 days at most, 3 days, because everyone's gonna be rushing out getting food like crazy. Look at how fast everything emptied during the beginning of COVID. Look at how fast the shelves emptied. If that happened like on a long-term basis, oh my gosh, it would be insane. And you think, and it's funny because I talk about this and I was like, people think like, oh, you know what? It wouldn't be like the movies. People aren't going to attack each other over, you know, when shit hits the fan and stuff. Are you crazy? Have you seen how people act during a Black Friday sale? And that's over a TV. How are people going to act when their kids are starving? Like, and we're so far away from that third world mentality. We're so first world that we can't even envision what it'd be like. Like we don't. Like humans in North America don't look out for each other. Like we just want people to like wear a mask, and we got people fighting over that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like think about it.
I feel like you're onto something.
The mask thing to me, I'm sorry if I could. Yeah. It's like the downside of wearing a mask is you wore a mask when you didn't need one. Yes. The upside is you've saved lives. And to me, it's just a no fucking brainer. Like these conspiracy theorists who were like, oh, this and that about the virus, it's not even that dangerous, etc. And I'd read that and I'd be like, you know, like it does seem like a healthy young man like myself would be okay. I get that. But like, what is at stake here? Me putting on a mask, like I don't know about y'all, but I've got a super comfy mask. I got one of the ones that's like a neckerchief, like it's like a stretchy like pantyhose type thing that like comes up. First of all, everybody looks better in a mask. Second of all, like I feel like it's almost like wearing sunglasses around other people. You like don't have to deal with them. I can kind of like it. I can kind of go to my own little place. So when I walk into like a pharmacy or something, now I was in the pharmacy a couple days ago, like 15 people in there waiting in line. And I got my fucking mask. I'm like a bank robber. I even said that when I got up there. I'm like, you know, if I'd walked in here 2 years ago with this, you'd have called the cops. Because I got like the full like thing up covering half this much of my face. Yep. And then I got my like sunglasses on. Yeah. I don't mind it a bit. I don't mind it.
Got into watching Formula One, and they all have these like stylized European cut masks. They look great. I was like, that's what I want. So that's what I have.
But
yeah,
as Kyle was saying, how little does it take? How little does it take to look out for other people? Like, and these guys are, and then look at all these friggin' cases building up in Florida now of all these governors, and Tucker Carlson is out. Oh, man, now you got to get the MAC vaccine. Like, it took people to die for people to change their ways. Like, I swear, sometimes humanity just asks for it. Like, it's like, Jesus, Murph. Like, I was wearing masks before you had to wear masks. Like, I like the January before COVID really broke out. I had a box of N95 masks. Like, you can get them from Home Depot for $18.99, box of 20. And I just sent a text to my family, go out and buy a couple boxes of these now at Home Depot. All right. And they all laughed at me. LOL. Oh, you and your end of the world stuff. Oh, you and your prepper. And I said, just please go out and buy it. 2 months later, gone. You couldn't find it. And not even the hospitals could get 95 masks, right? And now you try and get them now. They're like $5 for one disposable mask for R95
really?
or N95.
Yeah. That's wildly expensive.
And those just so cheap to make.
How much does it cost to make that? Like 3 cents? Yeah,
at least, at the most. And it's like I still have boxes.
It's a good margin.
It's like it's like the. I mean, imagine if this was a real pandemic, like something. What was that movie with
World War Z?
His wife was cheating on him in Beijing, and she came back and brought the disease over. It's with the guy from It's not going to come to me now.
That's not Contagion, is it?
Yes, Contagion.
Oh,
that
it is? Okay.
movie. Have you seen that movie? Go watch that movie. That will get your good paranoia going really good.
So I've argued against the survival stuff a couple times on this show.
Okay.
Where the thought process was like, it's almost like these people wish there was an alternative world where they get to be Negan and they'll be in charge. And if you really want to change your life for the better, go to community college and learn to weld or HVAC or whatever. That was the thing I put out there a bunch of times. Now that we're deeper into this COVID thing and I'm watching how people respond, and I've just finished watching the whole Walking Dead, it's like maybe Wolf is onto something. Maybe, yeah. Like
tell me your worries.
I don't think it's your first thing, right? I think that maybe the first thing you get to, if you're young in life, you're broke, you have no skills. Step 1, go to community college and learn HVAC repair. Step 2, accumulate a little money and buy some MREs. Like maybe not step 2, but anyway, I'm not saying that should be your primary focus, but if you have some of your other bases covered, it's not dumb.
I'm not one of those Doomsday Preppers guys. Like, have you seen that show, Doomsday Preppers?
You look a little. I mean, with the mask on, you cosplay as one.
you definitely are. You're more similar to that show than you're letting on.
There are guys, but
it's a cool show.
There are people out there who live that 24/7.
That's a real meme, right? Just like him wearing that mask with what looks like guns behind him, and then text saying, "I'm not one of those doomsday preppers."
I'm not some weirdo.
But yeah, there are guys out there who like take their families out in the middle of nowhere and start, trying to live off the grid and solar panels and drinking rainwater and eating.
Guys who drive themselves into poverty by decking out shipping containers.
They invest all of their money into it. Like, no, dude, I have properties, I have businesses, I have kids going to college, I've got hot women. Like I have a life.
Your other bases are covered.
Very much so. Like I'm not going broke buying equipment, but at the same time, when something did happen, I didn't have to run out and get toilet paper. I didn't have to run out, and there was a point where what do they call it, chicken broth. Everyone started buying all the chicken broth for some reason. I already had that in storage. Like it's
like no calories in there.
But I'm saying, I don't know why it happened. It's just random stuff. Like there's nothing. I have a generator if the power goes out. I have most of the bases covered that I can survive for a few months without. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many watts is your generator?
I've got,
How many watts is your generator?
I'm not even sure, actually.
Enough.
I just
I don't know.
started every couple of months and make sure it's running okay. But I have enough, like, I'm not that into it that I know the specific wattage and yada yada. I know I have enough power to keep certain things running if need be for a good amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But again, seeing the reality of how humans react when it comes to hard times made me realize that the government, I'm not an anti-government guy, I'm not one of those guys. The government's not going to look out for you.
Yeah,
because they'll just shut everything down, and all those government guys are rich anyway, so they're just being mansions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's how many movies have you seen where the government just shuts down and people go crazy? It's like that's a human condition thing. It's not like people are not going to be singing Kumbaya and around campfires as the zombies are coming. They're going to be like trying to take each other's food.
Yeah. Well, that's what every zombie movie is about. Every zombie movie has the like undertone of like, it's not the zombies that are the number one thing to deal with. It's the other people who are going to be trying to steal your generator and take your food and pilfer your toilet paper.
And it's
you were talking about
true
Doomsday Preppers. Like the way you said it is 1,000,000% true, because there is no middle class prepper on the planet based on that show. It is someone who has $30,000 to their name and built something that's not, I wouldn't spend a weekend there on a bet. Yep. Or there are guys who are multi-millionaires and took like a little piece of their fortune. One guy built an actual castle. He's like, I want to be able to survive, and I also love the Middle Ages. So I built a castle, and he has his like 9 children come there and do a contest. And of like a survival literally like handing them bows, like, what I've taught you. I can't leave this to all of you, and some of you don't take it seriously. So we're having a competition to see who will get left this really valuable piece of land with this goofy castle on it. And it's like his kids competing in like archery, and some of them are like over getting talked to by the camera, like, this is fucking retarded, man. I don't even want it. And then some other ones are like, yeah, I want the fucking castle. I could sell this for like $4 million. You know how much land is on this? We have a lake, moving water. There's well water. We got everything. Yeah, I can sell this to some, land settlement company.
But it's like
that's what it is.
It's like, again, like it's just basic survival instinct, I guess. But I don't, especially when I have kids, I want to make sure they're okay. You know what I mean? Like when you see all these survival movies, 99% of them are a guy surviving on his own.